The FBI officers were stunned hanged. Even if you left a prisoner fully free inside Alcatraz, escape was considered impossible. And yet from this fortress of steel and stone, 3 prisoners disappeared without a trace. The strangest part is, for the next 15 hours, prison authorities had no idea they were gone. You're watching Truth Chapters Raise, and in this chapter we see not only the FBI, but even its top investigative agencies failed to solve the case. It's one of the most extraordinary prison escapes in the world's history, the Alcatraz escape of 1962. The first part is, the rock in the middle of the Pacific Ocean lies a small island approximately 22 acres wide. But this wasn't an ordinary island rock. It was some of the most dangerous criminals in American history. Built on rock, surrounded by fierce waves, it earned a name known around the world, the Rock. All around it the ocean roared. To make it even more secure, a 15-foot-high fence surrounded the facility, and armed guards monitored it 24/7 hours a day from watchtowers and cameras. Because the island sat at the mouth of the Pacific Ocean, the winds were violent, the water freezing cold, and the current so strong that no one could swim far long, and not even the very best swimmers. For that's why these reasons, in 1934, Alcatraz was declared a federal prisoner place for criminals who could not be contained anywhere else. Once you were sent here, you never left. People called it the escape-proof prison. On the night of June 11, 1962, that claim was shattered forever. The masterminds behind the Alcatraz escape 4 men were at the center of this story. John Anglin Clarence and William Anglin was brothers by blood, and skilled bank robbers Frank Morris, an exceptionally intelligent criminal who had already spent many of years moving through different prisons. Alan West, a persistent prisoner who never stopped trying to break free. Alan West had been at Alcatraz the longest. He knew every rule, every corner, and every weakness of the prison. In 1960, he revealed a bold idea to his fellow inmates that an escape no one thought, this is possible. It's possible to get out of here. And that single sentence began one of the most remarkable plans ever made inside a prison. The planning Alan West had discovered a small loophole, a weak point behind the cells in Block B where a hidden passage could be made. The problem was, the 4 men were all held in different cells. For almost 2 years they worked to get transferred into adjacent cells in Block B, and eventually they succeeded. That was the moment when their plan stopped being a dream and started becoming history. Every night, while the prison was filled with music or maintenance noise, the 4 secretly began digging through the back wall of their cells. The ventilation openings were only 5 by 9.5 inches, and the wall was 6 inches thick strong, but the cement was old and weak, just enough to carve through. They turned every day, and every night scraps into tools of escape kitchen spoons, shattered saw blades, and even a homemade drill powered by a stolen vacuum motor. Every night they chipped away little by little. Every morning they covered the holes with painted cardboard and newspaper to hide the damage. No one noticed a thing. The dummies and the disguised Frank Morris, the mastermind, created the most creative part of the plan, the dummy heads. Using soap, plaster, and cement dust, the men sculpted fake human heads. They glued real human hair onto them, stolen from the prison barbershop. At night, they placed the dummy heads on their pillows, pulled the blankets over their shoulders, and made everything look perfectly normal. From a distance, guards saw sleeping prisoners. In reality, the real men were crawling through holes in the walls. The Great Escape on the night of June 11, 1962, everything was ready. At around 10 p.m., Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers crawled through the vents behind their cells, entered a dark utility corridor, and climbed a vertical pipe up to the roof. But Alan West, the very man who started it all, was trapped. His vent was jammed with cement, and he couldn't break through in time. By the time he freed himself, the others were gone. From the roof, the 3 men carefully slid down a drainage pipe, crossed the 15-foot fence, and reached the shoreline. Waiting there was their homemade inflatable raft, constructed from over 50 stolen raincoats, stitched together and sealed with heat from the prison workshop's steam pipes. They even crafted life jackets from the same raincoats and used a small accordion as their makeshift air pump. At around midnight, they pushed the raft into the dark, icy waters of the Pacific Ocean and vanished into history. The discovery. The next June 12, 1962, at 6 a.m. morning, the prison staff began their usual roll call. When a guard tried to wake Frank Morris, his head rolled off the bed and shattered. It wasn't real. It was a dummy head made of plaster and soap. Panic spread instantly. The island erupted in chaos, sirens screaming, the helicopters circling, and every gate sealed shut. The FBI began a massive investigation. Inside the cells, they found the holes in the walls, the hidden corridor and the workshop where the men built their tools. And they found one sealed vent, the Alan West's, confirming he never made it out. West confessed everything. He explained how they had planned for months, how they built the dummies, and how they intended to reach Angel Island, then steal a car and blend into society. But when the FBI searched the mainland, there were no stolen cars, no robberies, no witnesses, nothing, anything. After 2 days, the Coast Guard found a wooden paddle floating in the bay, a deflated raincoat bag, and another bag containing personal photos and letters. Investigators believed the men had drowned. After all, who would leave behind sentimental items like that? But no bodies were ever found. Theories and mystery. Some believe the 3 men made it, reaching Angel Island, stealing a boat, and vanishing all the way to Brazil. Many years later, relatives of the Anglin brothers claimed that their older brother once said, "My brothers are alive." A cousin even claimed to have taken a photograph of them in Brazil 15 years after the escape. The 2 men in the photo looked strikingly similar to the Anglin brothers. But FBI experts denied it, saying the ages didn't match of them. In 1963, Alcatraz prison was permanently closed, and in 1979, the FBI officially ended its investigation. Eventually, the case passed to the U.S. Marshals, who still keep it active even after all these years. Until the men are found dead, proven alive, or would have reached the age of 99. In the last legacy of the Rock today, Alcatraz Island is a national park. Every year, thousands of visitors walk through Cell Block B, where Frank Morris, John Anglin, Clarence Anglin, and Alan West once lived. The dummy heads, the tunnels, and the homemade tools are all preserved in the museum. But one question still echoes through the cold ocean winds. How did they survive? Did 3 men really conquer the strong rock, or did the freezing waters of San Francisco Bay seal their fate forever? A truth lost somewhere between the waves and the wind. The waves still crash, the wind still howls, but the rock says nothing.